Have you ever been stumped by a question that contains an unfamiliar symbol? On test day, you may see math questions that contain symbols that you've never associated with math questions. The good news is that these special symbol questions are usually just an exercise in substitution. The questions always define how to use the special symbol. And when you understand what that special symbol means, you can plug the numbers into the question into the expression and then apply basic arithmetic and algebra to solve. Let's take a look at an example. Let x asterisk be defined by the equation x asterisk equals x squared divided by 1 minus x squared. The question now asks you to evaluate 1/2 asterisk. All this is asking you to do is plug in 1/2 every single time in the equation that you see x. When we do that, we get 1/2 squared over 1 minus 1/2 squared. All we need to do at this point is evaluate the arithmetic in order to get our answer. 1/2 squared in our numerator is 1/4. In our denominator, we have 1 minus 1/4. Simplifying our denominator, we get 1/4 divided by 3/4. Remember, when you divide fractions, you need to take the first fraction and multiply it by the reciprocal or inverse of the denominator. So we have 1/4 times 4 over 3, which equals 1/3. Now let's take a few minutes so that you can try a few of these symbolism questions on your own. Remember, you don't need to be intimidated by the unfamiliar symbols. Just understand how the symbol is defined, plug in the values, and use your algebra and arithmetic to solve. When you're finished with these exercises, we'll check the answers and then go through a few examples together. Okay, stop working. Now let's go ahead and check your answers. Now let's go ahead and take a look at number 1. The question states, for all x, the operation pound symbol is defined by pound symbol x is equal to 3x plus 4. The question asks us to evaluate pound symbol 7. Now, what we want to do with this question is take the value that comes after the special symbol and plug it into the original equation wherever you see x. So, rewriting the expression, we get 3 times 7 plus 4, which equals 21 plus 4, or 25. Now let's take a look at number 4. The question reads, for all x and y, the operation lambda is defined by x lambda y equals 5x minus 7y. The question asks us to evaluate 8 lambda 14. In this example, we have a variable to the left and to the right of our special symbol. So when we look at what we're asked to evaluate, we need to follow the same patterns. 8 must correspond to x because both of them are to the left of the special symbol. 14 corresponds to y because both are to the right of the special symbol. So wherever we see x in the equation, we're going to substitute the value of 8. Whenever we see y in the equation, we're going to substitute the value 14. Rewriting our expression, we get 5 times 8 minus 7 times 14, which is equal to 40 minus 98, which is equal to negative 58. Let's take a look at number 7. For all x, the operation delta is defined by delta x equals 7x plus 5. For what value of y is delta y equal to 173? This question isn't asking us to put in a value for x. Rather, it's telling us that when you put in the value of y, we get a result of 173. The question's asking us, what y did we put into the equation? In order to solve this equation, we need to substitute y into the equation. So, delta y equals 7y plus 5. Now we know that delta y is equal to 173. So we can set 7y plus 5 equal to 173. Now that we've done that, we have a linear equation that we can solve for y. Combine like terms by subtracting 5 from both sides of the equation. On the left-hand side, we end up with 168, and on the right-hand side, we end up with 7y. So 168 equals 7y. Now all we need to do is divide both sides by 7 in order to get our answer. 168 divided by 7 is 24. So y is equal to 24. Now that you've gotten some experience with special symbol questions, let's put those skills to the test with a test question. Number 11 says if m triangle n is defined by the equation m triangle n equals m squared minus n plus 1 divided by m times n for all non-zero m and n, then 3 triangle 1 equals. This is much like the example that we did earlier. There's a variable to the left and to the right of our symbol. So when we're evaluating 3 triangle 1, the 3 should correspond to the m, the 1 should substitute the n. Plugging those two numbers in, we get 3 squared minus 1 plus 1 over 3 times 1, which reduces to 9 minus 1 plus 1 over 3, or 9 over 3, which is equal to 3, which corresponds to answer choice B. Now take a look at the math that you had to do for this symbol question. Very straightforward calculations. 3 squared, negative 1 plus 1, 9 divided by 3. Just remember, you don't need to be intimidated by an unfamiliar symbol. If you can follow the rules of the symbol, substitute, and then use your arithmetic skills, you'll be rewarded by calculations that are very straightforward. Great work! This concludes our algebra lesson. We've covered all of the elements that you're likely to see on test day. If you're in one of our full-length prep courses, remember to practice the skills that you learned today during your classroom sessions. If you're not in one of our full-length classroom courses and you'd like to see more test questions, contact Kaplan to see about joining a class. Best of luck as you continue to study for test day.